Hey everyone, my name is Lynnette. Welcome to Big Easy Books. Alright, so I just started this Booktube channel, and for my first video, I thought I would do the new to Booktube tag for you guys, originally created by Between Chapters, and I'll link her video down below. So let's get started. Question number 1, where are you joining us from? As you guys can probably tell from my channel name, I live here in New Orleans. I didn't grow up here. I came here 4 years ago to go to school, and I loved it so much I've decided to make this city my permanent home. Question number 2, how old are you? I'm 22. I just finished school at Tulane University and am so excited to be looking forward to the rest of my life and finally have some more time to read. Question number 3, why did you join Booktube? I decided to join Booktube because I've always felt really alone in my reading life. Until recently, I never read what was popular with everyone else. I was always really into the classics, and I felt like no one else was reading the same things that I was reading. And as you guys all probably know, that can be a bit of a bummer. But I've seen people on here who love the classics as much as I do and are trying to do the same things that I want to do in my reading life, and I want to be a part of this community. Question number 4, what is the meaning behind your channel name? I decided to name my channel Big Easy Books because, like I said, I live in New Orleans. I've made this city my home. I absolutely love it. The other thing is, I tend to love big books. My 2 favorite books average out to be about 1,000 pages each, which is a lot. So you guys will definitely not see me shy away from those hefty books on my channel. Question number 5, what type of books do you read? Like I said, up until just recently, I almost exclusively read the classics. In 8th grade, I read Pride and Prejudice, fell in love with it, and just spent my entire high school career devouring those books. And I never really read any of that YA fiction that was popular with my classmates. However, I work at a bookstore, and so I've decided just recently to kind of broaden my reading horizons and pick up some of those really popular YA and adult fiction books that everybody who comes into the store is reading and all of my coworkers are reading. Because if you think about it, the classics are classics because when they first came out, they were those super popular books. Everybody read them, everybody talked about them, and that's how they became the classics. So I think there's something really special about reading those really popular books right now. Question number 6, who are some of your favorite authors? Well, my absolute favorite book of all time is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And while you may be thinking, wow, Tolstoy, that's so unusual, I have a degree in Russian, so you will actually probably see me reading a lot of Russian literature on my channel. And I know that that's something that's not super popular out there on Booktube, even with the others who do read classics. So I'm excited to bring kind of a new flavor. Of course, if War and Peace is my favorite book, then I definitely have to say that Leo Tolstoy is my favorite author. You might be surprised to learn that he only wrote 2 novels in his life. He did a lot of short story writing, or he wrote a lot of theological works, but only 2 real big novels. War and Peace, Anna Karenina, both very big, hefty books, like I was telling you. But they are 2 novels that are so close to my heart, and whenever I'm feeling down, I can always pick them up, and they always give me that great kind of bigger perspective on life. My other favorite book with War and Peace is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I feel weird saying that she's one of my favorite authors because this is the only thing that she ever wrote, but it is one of my favorite books. I know that this is a very controversial book, and I have a lot of thoughts about that and about controversial books in general, so I hope that in the next week or so I'll be putting out another video to talk specifically about that and about why some of those really controversial books are still some of my favorites, even though they make me uncomfortable while reading them. Question number 7. What is the last book that you read? The last book that I read is called This Is Where It Ends. The author is from the Netherlands, so I'm not going to try and pronounce her name. I would butcher it. But it takes place over 55 minutes from the perspective of 4 different students during a high school shooting. So it is a really intense book, really thought-provoking, and definitely made me think about how we are handling gun violence, and specifically gun violence in schools in our society. Question number 8. What book are you currently reading? So if you look on my Goodreads page, it says that I'm currently reading 3 different books. That's only partially true. 2 of those books I started, and while they're amazing books, they just weren't holding my attention right now, so I've kind of set them aside until I get back in the mood for them. So the book that I'm really currently reading right now is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have never seen the TV show. I've seen like the first episode. The reason I decided to start reading the books was because my best friend loves the show and she wanted me to watch it. She kept bugging me about it and I said, no, if we're gonna do this, we have to do this right. I'm reading the books first. So we're actually reading the book together. My fiance is reading it with us too, and we are all loving it so much. I can see why everybody is obsessed with the TV show. I'm sure I will be too, because I'm already kind of obsessed with the book. Question number 9. What do you use as a bookmark? So last year when I started working at the bookstore, I went ahead and bought myself this bookmark because I thought it was really cute and it kind of embodied my new commitment to my reading life because it had been really suffering while I was in school. Before then, I mostly just used index cards because I always had some laying about. I'm a big proponent of flashcards, so that's what I always just stuck in my books to keep my place. Question number 10. Current TBR pile. Okay, so if I were to try and show you guys all of the books that I have that I haven't read yet, it would be way too many. So right now I'm just showing you the ones that I plan to read in the next month. If not by the last day of June, then definitely by the end of the first week in July. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. I hope so, because these are some really great books that I've been putting off for quite a while. But I guess y'all will have to check back and see. Question number 11 is all about your personal preferences for reading. So the first part is hardcover or paperback. As you guys can probably tell from my TBR pile, I do really enjoy hardbacks. I think that they have a nice solidity to them. But before I started working at the bookstore, and I couldn't really afford hardbacks. So probably most of my books are paperbacks. I just bought them usually before I started working at the bookstore. So you can tell looking at my shelf kind of which ones are older, which ones I've had for a while, and which ones are brand new. The second part is ebook or physical book. I like to write in my books. I know that sounds scandalous to some of you, but I think it's fun to be able to look back and think what I thought about things before I knew what the ending was going to be. So I definitely prefer a physical book. There is one exception to that though. I have kind of a guilty pleasure for those historical romances, like the cheesy ones that you see in the grocery store and stuff. So I always get those on ebook format so that I can take them out in public and read them and not feel shame for that. So those are all the ones that I have on ebook. And then the third part is owning or borrowing from the library. Obviously, if I'm going to write in them, I can't do that in a library book, and I work at a bookstore, so I definitely have to say that I prefer owning them. Question number 12. What book or series got you into reading? I've been reading since I was a very small child. I learned how to read before I even went to kindergarten. I think the first real book that I read was Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, and I read that like as I was entering kindergarten. So I was really lucky to have parents who read a lot themselves and taught me how to read very young, and so instilled that love of reading in me. So as a kid, some of my favorite series were The Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I went through a whole phase with those books. It was really intense. A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, of course. And then as I got older, like I said, in 8th grade I read Pride and Prejudice, loved it, and that brought me into the classics. Question number 13. How did you discover Booktube? So I've been through a little bit of a phase a couple of months ago where I read a bunch of books about education reform and how kids graduating now don't like to read, what some people call the reading crisis, and I was so interested in them. They were so good, really thought-provoking, really made me think about my own reading life. So one night after I had read a bunch of those books, I just went onto YouTube and kind of searched around, wanted to see some videos about the same kind of stuff, and stumbled upon Booktube. And once I found it, I just devoured it. I watched so many videos. It was insane. And so then after that kind of dive into it, I was like, well, of course, this would be great. This would be so much fun. I have to be a part of this. Question number 14. What are some challenges you think you might face with your own channel? This is actually really funny because this is the second time I've had to record this video today because the first time I tried to record it, the microphone wasn't on. I am super bad at technology, so this is going to be a struggle. I'm definitely going to have my fiance help me edit these videos because I don't know how to do that. I had to have him help me set up the equipment and figure out how to turn the microphone on. It was horrible. So, bear with me. And finally, question 15. Where else can you find me on social media? So I will leave a link to my Goodreads and Twitter down below in the description box, so you guys come check me out, send me a message. I really want to hear from you. I really want to get immersed in the community, so I promise, send me anything. I will read it and send you something back. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye!